Live from the local station, News 4 Jax starts now.
Mind-boggling destruction left behind by now Tropical Storm Michael. Entire blocks of homes washed away.
It was sad. Where are people going to live? They have no jobs now.
Search and rescue teams making their way into devastated communities.
Second floor of some of the apartments are just gone. Roofs are gone. So it's a tough situation.
Nearly 1 million homes and businesses are without power. Scenes and stories of the catastrophe emerging all across the Panhandle.
The roar of it, I guess, is what was just deafening.
Michael was the first Category 4 hurricane on record to hit the Panhandle, and what's left of it is still causing havoc elsewhere.
Though it has weakened to a tropical storm, Michael continues to bring heavy rain and wind to the southeast, soaking areas that are still recovering from Hurricane Florence. There are reports of 7 deaths as a result of the storm in Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina. And right now, new images are coming into our newsroom of the damage. Take a look at this. Mexico Beach, what used to be a beautiful waterfront city, is now waterlogged. It's a mess. This is new drone video now from where Michael made landfall. It annihilated homes with its 155-mile-per-hour winds. FEMA says its priority right now are rescues. And now video for you from St. George Island across from Apalachicola. Security cameras show this debris floating on the waves around a home. Storm surge reached as high as 14 feet on the barrier island. And now our Sky 4 helicopter flew over Mexico Beach this afternoon where neighborhoods were reduced to rubble. Here's the latest for you. Michael has been moving across the Carolinas today. It is near Raleigh right now. It'll head off the coast overnight tonight. And right now, Michael is still a tropical storm. Governor Scott has vowed to get help to everyone.
Starting right now, News 4 Jax is joining with the American Red Cross to hold a phone bank. Volunteers are here at Channel 4 to take your calls. You can donate to the hurricane relief effort by simply dialing 348-6022, or if you're out of the area, 1-800-366-9598. Our phone bank will be open until 7 o'clock this evening. We have several crews, both here in Florida and in South Georgia, covering the aftermath of Hurricane Michael. We begin with News 4 Jax reporter Vic Micolucci. He has been in Mexico Beach all day and is joining us live in the Panhandle. Vic?
And Tom, what we saw was absolute devastation. You have heard people say this before. It looks like a bomb went off. We saw that for mile after mile. Mexico Beach is devastated. A neighborhood just gone. This was a small community where no building was left unscathed. There's no cell phone service. There's no reception for our live truck to go live. There's nothing. And that's why we came back here to Callaway. It is in between Mexico Beach and Panama City, another area that is very hard hit. But they at least have some resources. They at least have some infrastructure. While we were there, we saw just unspeakable damage, and I want to show you what we recorded. Again, our truck could not go live. The only way to communicate with the outside world there is through a satellite phone. So we drove back here about an hour to be able to broadcast. I want to show you what we witnessed just a couple of hours ago. Mexico Beach is a disaster area. This small Gulfside town is basically wiped off the map. Homes flattened, everything gone. This used to be a house, the kitchen here, the living room there, the bathroom in the corner. All of it flattened. And that is the same case for miles. Look around here, just a few buildings stand. For the most part, everything is destroyed. You can see mattresses, appliances, cars, strewn about by this powerful storm, which came ashore here. The eye wall measured at 155 miles an hour. And believe it or not, we spoke with people who rode it out in this very community and survived.
I've been in some pretty strong hurricanes. I've been in Category 4. Nothing compares to this. I've never had a situation where I actually fear for my life. So bad that I had a panic attack. Because I've been in 30 hurricanes, 10 majors, Category 3 or higher.
Loud and everything. I mean, it was just scary. It was downright scary.
Have you ever been through anything like this?
No.
Scariest moment ever?
Ever in my life.
The carnage is everywhere. We've been driving around for hours, starting early this morning, and we have seen just so much devastation. In Mexico Beach, a lot of people were just sitting at a mangled Jiffy Mart. They were sitting there. They had nothing else to do. They only had the clothes on their backs. Some of them had children. We spoke with a 17-year-old boy, an elderly woman whose husband is in the hospital. She can't reach anybody. People with dogs, people with special needs, now homeless. I asked them where they're gonna sleep tonight, what they're gonna do. They told me they had absolutely no idea. They appreciated us being there to tell their story, to let the outside world know just how bad it was. And their message tonight was, don't ever try to ride out a storm this strong. We're live in Callaway. I'm Vic Micolucci, Channel 4, the local station.
Vic, those two men you spoke with in Mexico Beach who rode out the storm, did they tell you where they rode out the storm? I mean, I know in Panama City Beach you were in a concrete parking garage. Where did those men ride out the storm that they survived?
One man rode it out in an apartment complex, the other in a condominium complex, Tom. And they told me they went to the second floor. They hid in the closet, they hid in the bathroom, but the entire building was swaying. They lost the roof. The doors were blown in. I mean, literally, they described the conditions as apocalyptic. And that first man that we spoke to, he chases storms. He's from Wilmington, North Carolina. He's been through Katrina. He's been through Irma. He's been through Ivan. He says nothing compares to this one.
Lucky to be alive, Vic. Thank you. Vic Micolucci reporting to us live from Callaway. Thank you, Vic.
News4JAX reporter Jim Piggott has been traveling to many of the small communities along I-10 hit by the storm. Jim, now joining us live from Tallahassee. Jim, what are you seeing there?
We're seeing a lot of this. Trees down, power lines down, nothing like the devastation that Vic just showed us. But this is what's causing people problem in trying to get around, say, here in Tallahassee. They're without power, many of the small communities without power. I'll tell you, last night I slept along I-10 in a car because it was just so backed up because of situations like this. And this morning when we hit the road again, still backed up. So people who are trying to find out what's going on is really having a problem trying to get around. They should just avoid those roads. When we were able to move along Interstate 10 this morning, we were once again blocked. 80 miles of the interstate closed because of the conditions, just too much debris. And it wasn't only us blocked, but emergency crews trying to make their way through were also held up and had to divert through the small towns and go around to get to those in need. We're here in Gadsden County. It's Quincy. This is what we're seeing. Trees down here, trees down over this way blocking roads, trees down this way here. It's a mess. One person lost their life in this area when a tree came down, but most people around here say they just feel lucky to be okay after riding this storm out. With chainsaws buzzing in the background, Sarah Durham sat on her front porch, surprised at what she'd been through.
Me and my son stayed here at home. It was a little rough at times, but we were fine.
Others in the area working hard throughout the morning to clear the debris from their houses and to try to return to their normal life.
I've never seen nothing like that.
We found warehouses with roofs ripped apart, and in every block scenes just like this. Trees down, pulling power lines with them, intersections blocked, people looking to help in any way they can.
Yeah, we knew some limbs was going to come down and some trees was going to come down. We didn't think it was going to be quite this bad, but, you know, we hung in there. That's all we could do.
You made it.
Where are we going to go?
Now I want to show you some video when we were traveling on Highway 90. You can see these two cars that are wrecked. Something happened, either a tree and the power lines came down on them, but as we were there, one person came up looking for the people frantically that were in that car, wondering where they were. Coming up all new at 6, we'll show you what happened and what she had to say. For now, we're live in Tallahassee. Jim Piggott, Channel 4, the local station.
Thank you, Jim. We're learning more about the circumstances surrounding the hurricane death of an 11-year-old girl in southwest Georgia. The howling wind picked up a portable carport and dropped it on the roof of a home. One of the carport's legs punctured the roof and hit the child in the head. News 4 Jax reporter Allison Henning is joining us live from Seminole County, Georgia, which is just across the Florida border, to tell us about the damage that she is seeing there. Allison?
Tom, I am in the center of Donaldsonville right now. The damage throughout this city is very widespread. EOC officials tell me that this city took some of the worst damage from the storm here in southwest Georgia. Just take a look at this Shell gas station here beside me. You can see barely any of it left standing besides a few of the gas pumps. And if you take a look down this street, you can still see pieces of the business here along the ditch, this dumpster in the ditch here. And if you take a look down the street, you can see more debris, power lines draped onto the roadway and glass on the concrete. Pretty much every direction you look, you can see some form of debris in this city. We spent a lot of this afternoon driving throughout the area, talking with people who are working to clean up what Michael left behind. The hurricane barreled through, tearing apart houses, uprooting trees, snapping some in half, and even bringing down countless power poles. Tonight, hundreds of thousands of people across the state living without electricity. Here in Donaldsonville, people know there is a long road to recovery ahead in their city that has become, in parts, almost unrecognizable.
We're only so many people, and we can only do so much a little bit at a time. So it's going to take a few years to get this place back up and running to where it looks normal again.
And Mina Tool, who you just heard from there, tells us, this is a very small city, but she knows that neighbors will help neighbors get through this very difficult time. Right now here in Seminole County, there is a curfew in place. Officials are asking people to stay off the roads. That curfew was extended until 8 o'clock Saturday morning. Now reporting live in Seminole County, Georgia, Allison Henning, Channel 4, the local station.
Right now on News4Jax.com, you will find a slideshow of images of the devastation left behind by Michael. We've also posted information on how you can help the victims of the storm. Look on the homepage of News4Jax.com.
Also making news today, a lot of parents in Mandarin frustrated because students at Mandarin High were kept outside on the football field for most of the day due to a bomb threat posted on social media. Take a look at this photo. It was sent to us by a Mandarin High School mother. Her son was badly sunburned while sitting outside on the bleachers all day. She says his face was almost purple. Sky 4 flew over the school. Students were released around 2:20 this afternoon. That's 20 minutes later than normally dismissed. News4Jax reporter Elizabeth Campbell. She's joining us live from outside Mandarin High with what she's been learning. Elizabeth.
Well, Joy, right now school is out, but Greenland Road behind me today around 2:30 was full of traffic. The backup was very far back as parents were coming to pick up their kids. Now, even more carpool parents because normal bus riders, they wanted to come here just to make sure their students were okay.
Sky 4 video shows someone being put on a stretcher and loaded into the ambulance today. We haven't been able to confirm if anyone was taken to the hospital, but students told me someone was sick from the heat and is expected to be okay. Parents nervously waited for hours in this church parking lot up the road, while their children waited for nearly 5 hours in the bleachers of the football field. All parents were concerned, but had mixed emotions on the way things were handled.
I've heard a bunch of nonsense, the same old, we don't know, please be patient. That's about it.
As a parent, you feel they've done the best that they can?
I do. I really do. I'm pretty sure she would have informed me of anything that if she was feeling uncomfortable.
Many students told me they think the school took care of them the best they could, but they were ready to go home.
I mean, it wasn't so hard saying that we were with our friends and everything, but it just started to get hot and everyone started getting tired.
Mixed stories on food and water. Some saying they had both, others saying they ran out.
The district posted this update on its website at 2:15 today. A bomb threat specific to Mandarin High School was received earlier. Working with law enforcement partners, it was determined that the school was safe to open this morning. That is in response as to why students were originally allowed into the building this morning. Now, I sent a full list of questions to the district. It acknowledged that they have received those questions and are working to get back to me. And as soon as we get those answers, we will, of course, let you know. Reporting live from Mandarin, Elizabeth Campbell, Channel 4, the local station.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Another reminder, we have joined with the American Red Cross to raise money for the Hurricane Michael relief efforts.
We have volunteers on hand to take your calls right now. Just dial the numbers on your screen to make a donation. Our phone bank will be open until 7 p.m. The day after Hurricane Michael came ashore in the Panhandle, we are getting new perspective on just how destructive this Category 4 storm was.
Search and rescue teams have fanned out in about a dozen counties to reach anyone who was trapped in debris. As we saw earlier, rows and rows of homes have just been smashed to bits. CNN reporter Jan Pomerantz is joining us live from Panama City to show us some of the destruction there. Jan, a storm chaser said Panama City to him looked like it had been nuked. Is that your assessment too of Panama City?
Well, there are parts that have certainly been hit really hard. I mean, even take a look at the storage facility behind me. I'm going to take a little step away. This was a boat barn, a huge boat barn, and you can just see what the storm did to this structure. One boat owner said they were told this could withstand a Category 4, but this was a special kind of Category 4 that came through here yesterday. And as we drive around these streets here in Panama City, you are seeing a lot of that. Sometimes, you know, the way the hurricane works, one house will be fine, but then next to it, a place that is just flattened, the roof torn off. These streets are still dangerous as well. We're seeing trees, not just down on the streets, but trees leaning on power lines, but still suspended over the street. Those can still come down. This wind picks up, or just the weight of those trees can bring it down. So still a precarious situation here on the streets. That is why they are telling people not to come back. As much as people want to come and check on their homes, they say they need more time to do the damage assessment and to make these streets safer for people to come back and check and see for themselves.
Jan, we wanted to ask that with so many people wanting to come back home, have they given any indication about how long this cleanup process might take?
They haven't yet, Joy, and that is because it's taking so long just to even get started on this task. You know, we saw pictures of Coast Guard helicopters doing spot checks in certain areas, using the helicopters to get in there because they couldn't get in there with vehicles. They're using everything they can to check these communities, but because this damage was so widespread, they are telling people, if you're not here, if you didn't shelter here, you didn't evacuate, if you did leave, stay away as much as you want to come back. If you are here, they are saying that there is going to be a curfew in place starting with sundown to sunrise, because they want to make sure that these streets are clear and safe for the people who have to do the work tonight. Tom, Joy?
Jan, we heard a stretch of I-10, about 80 miles of I-10 was closed while they clean up debris. Do you have any information on that?
I know they're working on it. We haven't seen information that they've opened that up yet, and they are continuing to do that kind of work. They've shut down 3 of the roads into Bay County here where we are because they want to both stop people from coming back, and they just need that breathing space. There is simply so much work for them to do. They actually had to evacuate 130 people from hospitals here where we are in Panama City. So there's just so much coming at them, so much work to do. They're just in the early stages right now. Tom, Joy?
It sounds just overwhelming. Jan Pomerantz reporting live for us from Panama City. Thank you. Well, new at 5:30, a local attorney arrested on charges of grand theft and fraud.
How much money the I-Team has learned the lawyer is accused of stealing from a client. Another reminder, News4 Jax wants to make it as easy as possible for you to donate to hurricane relief one day after Michael caused widespread devastation in the Panhandle. We've joined up with the American Red Cross to hold this phone bank.
And they are eager to take your calls. To donate, just dial the numbers on your screen, 348-6022 or 1-800-366-9598. Our volunteers will be taking your calls until 7 p.m.
Our 5 powerful radar sweeps pinpoint exactly when weather will hit your neighborhood, hours before it happens. Channel 4 is the weather authority.
All right, so the big headline, Michael continues to weaken, but I want you to see something in the satellite picture of the last few hours. Note the red returning to the mountains of western parts of Virginia, not West Virginia, although there's a little bit of that too, but in the western parts of Virginia, the Shenandoah Valley, all the way back down towards Lynchburg and the like. This region here getting pounded by heavy, heavy rains. And this is part of the hard part of dealing with tropical systems. The rapid intensification we saw just before landfall into Mexico Beach, and now the severe rains that are coming down there and through parts of Virginia. This storm is going to head off the coast very rapidly. By 2 in the morning, it'll actually be off the coast out there east of around Ocean City, Maryland, and heading on east. So again, Michael's impacts are various. Didn't want to go here, but the bottom line is that what we're seeing here tonight is the fact that we're seeing the storm move on off the coast. And with that being the case, we're going to start to see some improvement in our weather. And it's been just fantastic out there here this afternoon and evening. And that will be the case as we go through the next 24 hours or so. So with that in mind, we're getting better weather for Jacksonville. Let's talk about the rest of the tropics here real briefly, because there is still action out there. Way out there, that's still Leslie. It's going to end up being potentially in the top 10 longest lasting tropical systems ever. Nadine's way down there, but they're both going to fade away. Meanwhile, as I was mentioning here moments ago, we're seeing the leftovers and seeing, well, a tropical storm in Michael out there towards the Carolina coastline, and that'll continue to move on out. The bottom line with Michael, there's always a twist in every type of, every major hurricane I've seen, and it was that massive pressure drop that we saw right before landfall. As I just mentioned, if you're worried about the rest of the tropics, forget about it. Everything's settling down. Those systems will all be gone. The big story now is the October weather cool down that's heading our way. This is what we're going to deal with tomorrow morning. In Georgia in particular, they'll be in the upper 50s. Jacksonville will be in the 60s. Yeah, St. Augustine southward, you'll still be dealing with warmer temperatures, but the air's going to dry out. And look how it looks across the area right now. It is a hot breeze out there with daytime temperatures right there near 90 degrees right now. And here are the current temperatures. 89 currently at the airport. We'll probably just leave it there. I don't think we'll reach 90 officially today, but it's a hot westerly wind pushing off the coast, so that your evening forecast looks like this. Sun goes down real early now, 7 o'clock, a beautiful evening, less humid conditions. And as we look at the forecast all the way into tomorrow, and I'll break it down for you coming up here in a few minutes, you're going to see some dynamite weather starting tomorrow morning. 67, then only 87 for a high, 59, 85. Yeah, I said 59 in Jacksonville. Saturday morning, the best day we'll have had since back in May, almost 6 months ago, like 5 months back. And you can see that the rain chances don't start to really return to the area until Monday and Wednesday of next week. Of course, we'll have more of that coming up as well as we get through the evening weathercast. All right, WQIK 99.117 iHeart radio station, keep you up to date with. Of course, News for Jackson 5 continues as we roll right into the 5:30 newscast. We'll be right back.